Live on stage, one of Latin America's biggest superstars. This is Gloria Trevi. Trevi was Mexico's answer to Madonna. Celebrating unmarried sex, masturbation, and teenage rebellion, she broke all the rules in Catholic Mexico and emerged as a superstar. Then the unthinkable happened. Gloria Trevi became Mexico's most hated criminal. After a police manhunt, Trevi was arrested with 2 accomplices.
Somos inocentes, señor.
She has been charged with kidnapping, corrupting, and raping a 12-year-old girl. Her co-accused are manager Sergio Andrade and a backing singer, Mary Boquitas. The lurid crime has since taken a dramatic twist. A number of young women revealed that 7 babies had been fathered by Trevi's manager. Charges of procurement, torture, and rape followed. Gloria Trevi once sang to millions. Now, in a solitary police cell, she sings alone. De tu conveniencia, porque soy la verdad desnuda y puesta al sol sin ninguna inhibición. Mexico's most infamous crime burst on an unsuspecting public in 1998. Behind everyday life, extraordinary crimes had been perpetrated for years. For one young woman, it all began 10 years earlier, outside a local radio station in Mexico City. Her name was Aline Hernandez.
This is the place where the whole story started. I remember I was standing here with my friends, waiting for a singer to come out. There was a parked car over there. A girl with her hair in plaits came over. She told me she was working in a school for acting, modeling, and singing, and asked if I was interested in going there. I was very excited. I'd always wanted to be a singer. I gave her my details. She asked my name. I said Aline. She asked how old I was. I said 13. And she said, Perfecto, 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 edad perfecta. I didn't know then what it was the perfect age for. I asked her, what is your name? And she said, Gloria Trevi.
Al día siguiente, fui a...
2 weeks later, I went to the school, which was horrendous. It was a tiny office in a small, ugly house.
Mi mamá me esperó en una de las salas.
My mother waited for me in one of the downstairs rooms.
Y yo pasé con Gloria a la oficina de arriba.
Gloria took me to the upstairs office. And there he was, sitting behind his desk. Andrade, a fat man who looked stern and bitter. I did my very first audition in this room. Sergio was at the desk over here. There used to be a chair over there. And over there was a piano. I sang, I danced, I acted, and I modeled. And for a large part of the audition, Gloria sat next to him. At the end of the audition, Gloria sent for me from another room. She brought me here and told me, Aline, we still have to do part of the audition, which is without your clothes on, because Andrade needs to see which parts of your body need exercising. I was really frightened and shocked. My mother waited for me in this room while I did my audition upstairs with Andrade. And while Gloria was asking me, can you believe it, to strip my clothes off.
Aline refused to strip. Sergio Andrade took this Polaroid of the 13-year-old in her pink dance clothes. Gloria came and told me that Sergio said I was mega talented and that he was very pleased with me, that I was incredibly lucky as he wasn't going to charge my family a penny for me to study there. Aline started attending classes at Andrade's office twice a week. Gradually, Gloria Trevi began to pressurize her into showing him another kind of attention. Gloria would pull me out of my classes and sit me down on a chair over here, and she'd go on and on and on about Andrade, Andrade, Andrade. She told me he was mysterious but wonderful, charming, talented and sensitive, and that he'd suffered a lot in love. She convinced me that he was a good man and that I had to be the girl who would make him believe in love again. That was the mission in life that Gloria imposed on me. I was very scared, but she threatened me. Gloria told me I had to follow it through because he was a good man and he was going to make me famous and produce a record for me. She convinced me. When I started having sex with Andrade, I was 14 and he was 34. I had no idea what it was like to have a boyfriend. Gloria said that the most important thing was not to tell my parents because they wouldn't understand. They'd take me away from the school and ruin my chances of becoming a famous singer. I promised her I wouldn't say anything to my parents. And I didn't. What Aline didn't realize was that Gloria Trevi and a backing singer called Mary Baquitas were also having sex with him. Andrade had a harem of young women. The 14-year-old was beginning 2 years of hell. The Trevi image targeted children. Her growing fame allowed her to recruit more girls for her manager. By 1990, her career had taken off.
Gloria Trevi.
With hit singles, sellout concerts, TV spectaculars, and even feature films. Trevi mania had gripped Mexico. Children adored her and imitated her provocative style.
Oh, I love children so much.
As Gloria toured Latin America, more girls were recruited to the camp. A 16-year-old from Argentina and more teenagers from the Mexican provinces. Gloria Trevi was building an entourage of girls seduced by her image.
Sergio y Gloria, ya había para mí cierto prototipo físico.
Sergio Andrade and Gloria Trevi wanted certain characteristics. They looked for girls who were slim and tall with nicely formed bodies. Girls who were very naive, young and malleable, of around 13, 14 or 15. And they wanted girls from poor backgrounds and broken homes who needed both money and affection. And above all, girls who craved fame.
Las ideas de querer realmente ser famosa y que ese tipo de, vaya.
The burning ambition to be famous will make you do anything to achieve it.
Lupita Carrasco arrived in Mexico City at the age of 19, seeking fame in the capital. She had come from the countryside after winning a series of beauty contests.
I wanted to be someone more than anything. I wanted to be a famous actress.
In October 1995, Lupita Carrasco was a national finalist in Miss Mexico. During the rehearsals, Lupita, on the left, took the stage knowing that two famous personalities were in the audience. The superstar Gloria Trevi and her manager, Sergio Andrade. As the Miss Mexico finals drew to a close, the contestants heard that Trevi was hoping to cast glamorous girls in a new Mexican soap opera. Casting sessions were held in a nearby hotel. The teenager from the poor Mexican village was offered fame on a plate.
Me dijeron que me iban a dar un curso de aproximadamente 2 meses.
They promised to give me a 2-month course in acting to train me to appear in the soap opera.
Entrar en la telenovela.
Lupita was told that her training would take place at the Pink House, Andrade's home in a wealthy suburb of Mexico City. Welcome to Morelos. This was to become Lupita's home. She would live with 7 other girls, some as young as 13.
Aquí esto es lo que antes.
This used to be the Pink House. Sergio Andrade and Gloria Trevi lived here. It was Andrade's favorite house. He liked it a lot. It looks like a prison. Even though the wall is high, there's barbed wire on top.
Esas son las recámaras.
There are 3 bedrooms up there on the top floor. I slept in the middle one. Gloria used to come and talk to me about my background. She'd ask me about my family and about the kind of person I was to find out my weak points, so that they could manipulate me better. I also talked a lot with Andrade. He said he was going to help me and help my family with the money I would earn in the soap opera. His encouragement motivated me. He told me that I was very talented, only that I was a rough diamond that had to be polished. I was very excited. I was thinking about my family and my mother as well as myself.
Somos de escasos recursos.
I come from a poor family. I felt grateful to him.
But Lupita's escape from poverty soon became a nightmare of emotional coercion. One day, Gloria Trevi tricked Lupita into believing that she had angered Andrade and was in danger of being expelled from the Pink House.
Me dijo que la única manera era.
She said that the only way to help the situation was to write a letter to Andrade telling him how much I loved him.
Le dije, pues es que yo.
I said I didn't love him, so why would I want to do that?
Me dijo, pero es que si.
She said that if I didn't write it, he would kick me out. Then I wouldn't be able to help my mother. I'd leave as a failure.
¿Qué le vas a decir a tu familia?
Gloria asked me what I would tell my parents.
Pues no pudiste con el.
That I was someone who wasn't up to working with her? She dictated the letter to me. I was very frightened. She took me to his room. I gave him the letter.
Lupita claims that with the love letter in his possession, Andrade went to her room one night and raped her. In a court of law, the letter would imply sexual consent.
Me siento bastante
I felt so guilty because I had written the letter. I didn't want to leave the house because I wanted to work with her, but if I wanted to stay, I had to agree to have sex with him. From then on, it happened again and again.
Yo ya no sabía si realmente estaba ahí porque.
I didn't know if I was staying because I wanted to be famous or because I wanted to help my family. I was confused.
Instead of finding fame, Lupita had become trapped in a web of control and manipulation. Escape seemed impossible. For most Mexicans, Gloria Trevi was the superstar. But behind the scenes, the singer's shadowy manager, Sergio Andrade, was in control. Andrade was a failed singer who rose to become Mexico's top producer. He was a star maker who produced some of the leading female singers of the 80s, creating a group called Painted Baby Lips, Mexico's Spice Girls. Two of the singers were Gloria Trevi and her friend, Mary Baquitas. 5 years later, he was creating an outrageous new product, the pop icon Gloria Trevi. It was into Andrade's realm of power and influence that Aline Hernandez had been drawn.
En esa época,
Gloria had just recorded her first song. I used to say, wow, if she's released a record, who knows, maybe in a little while, if I work hard in my classes, I'll get my own record too.
Ambition was a weakness that pop music could easily exploit.
él tenía como aquí, él tenía una...
He used to have a big wall calendar like this in his office on which he had marked Aline, recording Los Angeles. And he would go and strike out the date on the calendar each time I did something wrong, to postpone everything. I started to realize that I couldn't disobey him. If I wanted to be famous, I had to accept everything.
For Andrade, everything meant total control. At the age of 15, the starstruck teenager agreed to his demands to leave home. Remarkably, she married Sergio Andrade.
Mi noche de bodas fue terrible.
My wedding night was terrible. When the guests had left, he came to the bedroom.
Me da una bofetada.
He hit me, and then he left.
Era mi esposo.
He was my husband, but if he wanted, he had sex with Mary, or with Gloria, or with Katja, or with Marlene, or with Sonia, or with Gabby, because there were 7 women living with him.
Viví en muchos hoteles.
We lived in many hotels, in the El Bosque, in the Sevilla Palace, in the President.
A veces llegábamos.
Sometimes it would be me, Gloria, Mary, and he who checked into a hotel, and we all stayed in one room. Other times it was Mary, Gloria, me, and 3 or 4 other girls, and he took 2 rooms.
Y él decidía quién dormía en cada cuarto y quién iba.
He decided who would stay in which room, who would sleep in the bed, and who would sleep on the floor.
Empecé a
I started to have horrible experiences like going hungry, suffering sleep deprivation,
ceder a los deseos.
and giving in to all Andrade's sexual desires.
Llega un momento en que la necesidad es tal
I had to steal blankets and cushions from the planes on the flights coming home because I didn't know where I was going to sleep that night.
porque yo no sabía esa noche en dónde iba a dormir. Me tenía que robar.
I also had to steal biscuits or peanuts from the plane because I didn't know if Andrade would give me food that day. And at least I'd have some peanuts, which might be my food for the whole day or even 2 days.
O de 2 días inclusive. También me tenía que robar los shampoos.
I even had to steal shampoo and toilet paper from the hotels because he never gave us any money. As he specially hated me, I almost always had to sleep on the floor.
Una vez me hizo dormir en una...
Once, as part of a punishment, he made me sleep naked in a bathtub. He started punishing me by stripping me naked and hitting me with a belt like a little child. I became more and more afraid of him each time.
Yo creo que él vio que a través de los
He
castigos
saw that the more he punished, beat and starved us and deprived us of sleep, the more control he had over us.
yo pensaba escaparme de ese...
I had thought about escaping from the first day I went to live with them, but I was afraid. I didn't know how to do it.
Imagínate si no me salían bien las cosas.
You can imagine if I failed. If they caught me in the act of escaping, how terrible the punishment would have been.
In 1991, Hernandez won back her freedom. She escaped. For 6 years, she said nothing about her ordeals. Catholic Mexico seemed under siege. Tradition, religious beliefs, and icons were all challenged as Andrade turned outrage into an industry. The new Madonna was Gloria Trevi. While devout Catholics opposed contraception, Trevi posed gleefully with condoms. Her image was being shaped by Sergio Andrade, who was beginning to act as though he was beyond the law. He poured his newfound wealth into a string of properties, buying 5 new houses within a square mile. Away from the scrutiny of the press and behind high walls, what began as a pop entourage was becoming a cult. Teenage girls were scattered across different houses, banned from leaving without permission. Andrade was brainwashing them into believing that his brutal discipline was good for their careers.
Una persona muy indisciplinada.
He said I lacked discipline. He used to lock me up.
O por periodos a...
He made me do hard labor in the hot sun.
Y en esas circunstancias tú tenías que acoplar.
You had to get used to having nothing to eat.
Andrade made the girls living in and around the Pink House feel worthless, denying them the most basic amenities.
Bueno, en esta otra...
He owned this house over here too.
A veces no había facilidad.
Andrade's houses often didn't have drinking water in them, and the bathrooms didn't work. So you had to go across to the Pink House for permission to use the loo.
Lupita had to endure near starvation. Food, not fame, became her obsession. Then Andrade would use food as torture, force-feeding the girls after starving them.
Una ocasión en cuando fuimos a Veracruz.
One day, he took us to a restaurant by the sea.
En donde nos dio...
He ordered a 5-course meal. Starters, soups, fish course, main course, desserts.
El platillo fuerte, yo ya no tenía...
I wasn't at all hungry, as my stomach had shrunk after not eating for so long.
Pero me lo tenía que acabar porque si no yo iba a tener un problema.
But I had to eat, or risk being punished. He was enjoying it. He even forced us to eat donuts to stuff us until we were sick.
Hasta que pudiéramos vomitar, o sea, él quería que vomitáramos. Iba manejando el carro y lo manejaba así.
Then he drove his car, zigzagging all over the road. He told the driver of the other car to drive the way he did, purely to make us throw up.
Para que nosotras vomitáramos.
Well, I was sick. Another girl was too. He said we were disgusting. Yet he had made us be sick.
Andrade liked his girls pretty and passive.
Siempre como que él disfrutó.
He always enjoyed what he did to us. He was very sarcastic. He made cruel jokes at our expense, and we couldn't answer back. He encouraged the girls to badmouth each other. We were like puppets, like marionettes. Every time he felt like it, we were shouted at or punished. He had sex with each one of us whenever he wanted. We weren't treated like human beings, but like objects.
Andrade made his harem of 10 young women appear in calendars and directed this film of a photo shoot. Behind the sunny images, he was forcing the girls to spy and report on each other. Lupita Carrasco claims that the abuse she suffered at the Pink House was made worse by imprisonment. In a parking lot near Andrade's house, she returns to an abandoned camper van that was once her home.
Adentro.
Sometimes we used to sleep inside it. We were ordered to cover over all the windows to stop people seeing what was happening inside.
No viera qué estaba pasando adentro, no. Cuando
Sometimes they would lock me up for the whole day, or until they gave me permission to leave, until I was allowed to go out.
el estar encerrada para mí se volvió.
It was humiliating to be locked up. I felt like rubbish. I felt worthless. For me, being imprisoned was worse than being beaten. It depressed me more.
Esto todavía es de
Here are some disposal bags from a hotel.
de un hotel.
Sometimes we went to a hotel and we would have to steal the soap, the flannels, the creams, even the sanitary towels, because we were never allowed to go out to buy anything and never even given any money to go shopping.
Like other cults, Andrades deprived the girls of contact with the outside world and the glamorous life they had once aspired to.
Siempre nos decía que siempre estar ahí era lo mejor.
He always said that the best thing for us would be to stay there forever, that other people were mediocre.
Y Gloria siempre le obedecía.
Gloria always obeyed him. She used to tell us that everything was for our own good and we could become brilliant, not just as artists, but also on a personal level.
Sino también como persona, ¿no? Nos inculcaba siempre el
She instilled in us a spirit of loyalty towards him.
de serle fiel a él, ¿no? El hecho de que
If we so much as spoke to anyone outside the clan, we were considered the lowest of the low.
Loyalty to Andrade was the first commandment of the cult. In public, Gloria Trevi was one of the most liberated women in Mexico. In private, she was a mere lieutenant. She was assisted by her backing singer, Mary Baquitas, seen here on the right, who had also lived with Andrade since the 1980s. If Gloria Trevi was the pop star who procured young girls, Mary Baquitas was the enforcer behind the scenes, known as Andrade's right-hand woman.
Sergio me dice una vez, yo sé
Andrade told me once that he knew there would only be two girls who would stand by him until the end, Mary and Gloria.
son Mari y Gloria.
Those girls who disobeyed were brutally punished. One 14-year-old tried to escape from Andrade's beach home by swimming into the ocean. She was caught.
When Andrade caught her, he beat her until she bled and locked her in the bathroom, naked and without any food, for 3 weeks. I saw her clothes on the living room floor, spattered with blood.
ella me dice que
Gloria said she was furious because the girl didn't do what Andrade told her to do,
ella,
that it was her own fault she'd been punished.
que si ella hiciera lo que él le dice, no le pasara.
I realized then that Gloria would always take his side against us.
This terrifying incident galvanized Lupita to plan her escape. She conned Andrade into thinking that her will was broken and obeyed his commands. When her mother fell ill, she asked for compassionate leave, vowing to come back. She ran and never returned. Mexico's pop industry was about to be blown apart. In April 1998, Aline Hernandez, Andrade's estranged teenage wife, broke her silence and published a devastating book. Lupita Carrasco backed her up with a formal denunciation. Andrade panicked and went on the run. Initially, few people believed the accusations, calling them the inventions of a bitter ex-wife. But a new discovery turned Mexico against the pop Svengali. A baby boy was discovered, and he was on the brink of death.
La Procuraduría General de la República traerá la investigación del atentado a Patricio, pero advierte que no hay ningún
Chihuahua, North Mexico. This is the hometown of a girl called Karina Yapur. She had left home to join Trevi's entourage at the age of 12 after a happy childhood as part of a close-knit family in this quiet northern city. Like many other girls her age, she hung out at the local ice cream parlor and still played with dolls. For 4 years, her parents believed she was happily training to be a musician with Trevi, until one day they received a traumatic phone call. A government official told them that their daughter had conceived a child at the age of 14, and that their baby grandson now lay abandoned in a hospital.
I received a call about Karina's boy, that he was abandoned, very sick, in a hospital. We tried to find Karina, but they moved from the house that they were living in. We left 6 months ago without doing nothing because we feel scared that they can do some harm to Karina, you know.
Karina's parents took care of the baby, but fearing for their daughter's safety, reported her disappearance, triggering a worldwide hunt and charges of abduction. The Trevi clan, led by Andrade, went on the run, crisscrossing South America. Interpol distributed wanted posters in 170 countries, and the hunt was on. It took nearly a year to track the Trevi clan to Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. They were arrested on the 13th of January 2000. Sergio Andrade, now obese and unkempt, had 8 girls living with him, some pregnant, others with babies. By now, Gloria Trevi and backing singer Mary Boquitas were living in squalor. The 2 women and Andrade were taken into police custody. Until their arrest, many Mexicans were still reluctant to believe that the country's most famous female pop star could be implicated in such horrific crimes. But a new cynicism gripped society. The superstar had become a demon. Giant effigies of Trevi, Andrade, and Boquitas were burned in the streets. They had become figures of hate. Gloria Trevi, a glamorous superstar who acted in 3 feature films, 20 videos, and had her own TV show, is now reduced to this. Caught on the black and white CCTV monitor in a police detention center in Brazil. After long negotiations directed by Andrade through his lawyers, they agreed to be interviewed. Andrade's appearance has changed since his arrest. The trio claim they are victims of a terrible miscarriage of justice and are in mortal danger if they are extradited back to Mexico.
Dios mío, por favor.
My God, please, please, we are asking for some light. For people to see the injustice of our situation.
Gloria Trevi's tears cannot wash away the charges. Rape, kidnap, and corruption of a minor.
No hicimos.
We've committed no crime at all. They've committed a crime against us.
We have 3 concrete accusations. The other things, all the other mess around that stuff, it's a big mess, but it's just gossip. Gossip provoked by the figure of Gloria, the fame, and everything.
Las acusaciones en nuestra contra.
The accusations against us and against me are a huge fraud against the Mexican people. They are a huge lie and a huge money-making venture. Magazines, television channels, and newspapers are all involved. It's disgraceful that they are making money out of our terrible situation.
Karina Yapour's bleak story of giving birth to Andrade's child at the age of 14 has ignited Mexico's television talk shows. She has found fame promoting a book about her experiences with Gloria Trevi. This is Mexico's real-life soap opera. The three accused dismiss Karina as a sensationalist and an attention seeker, finding fame on the back of distortions. But her story is shocking and grotesque.
No.
He raped me.
Te violó. ¿Por qué no llamaste a tus padres?
Karina Yapour was barely out of primary school when she was taken from her home in Chihuahua. She had passed an audition to join Gloria Trevi's band. Mary Boquitas, Andrade's enforcer, was sent to Chihuahua to collect the young girl. Unaware that their daughter was being procured, Karina's unsuspecting family took Mary for a friend. Boquitas took Karina south to Morelos, to the infamous Pink House. It was here, claims Karina, that she was coerced into having sex with Andrade at the age of 12.
Mary Boquitas took me to Andrade's bedroom. It was the worst night of my life. The room was in darkness. By the light of his watch, he gestured to me to sit down in the bed. Later, he started to kiss my lips and to rub my private parts under my clothes. I froze like a stone. That attempt was only 10 days after my arrival. Full sex happened after 2 months.
I know they have said that I was the one who used to grab the girls, that I used to take them to Sergio Andrade and instruct them. Absolutely not. I never did anything of the sort. People used to come to us asking for opportunities. If, after that, a girl and Sergio, acting under their own responsibility, had some sort of personal relationship, it wasn't because I was present. It wasn't because I wanted it to happen or because I was instructing them.
Karina claims that she was threatened, punished, and brainwashed, unable to fend off repeated rapes.
Si estaba siendo violada.
If she was being raped, why didn't she take the microphone? Because she did have a microphone when she played piano at my concerts. Why didn't she shout out, "Help! Public! Help me! Help! Police! Reporters! Journalists! Come and rescue me! I am suffering!" Why? Excuse me. The woman traveled. She ate. She slept in the best hotels. She lived the good life. The very best life.
But Karina Yapour claims that five-star hotels were often the scenes of the worst degradations. Beatings were repeated and brutal. In 1996, while Gloria Trevi was on primetime television launching a new show, Karina was being whipped with belts, coat hangers, and electric cables.
One day my strength failed. After a series of beatings, my back, bottom, and thighs were purple, green, and black with bruises. I was so terrified that I fainted before he even began to beat me. When I regained consciousness, Andrade was having sex with me. I was never allowed to speak freely on the phone to tell my parents what was going on. We were always watched. Andrade threatened to hurt my family if I said anything against him or Gloria. He invented a torture that he called box. In a plastic box, he would put the remains of banana skins and orange peel, eggshells, rotting food, raw onions, and blackened herbs. All this was mixed with water. He made Mary watch over us until we'd finished the last trace of food in the box. It took me more than 3 hours to finish, and I vomited at least 3 or 4 times as I ate. Mary checked my box. She made me lick out even the last trace of my vomit.
Cualquier cosa que Sergio la considerara una desobediencia.
Anything that Andrade regarded as disobedience, the smallest thing, was punished. He was just too demanding. This was personal, not professional. This wasn't punishment, but torture.
Sergio no es duro.
Sergio Andrade isn't harsh, but it's true he's demanding. In a professional sense, he's a perfectionist, but that doesn't make him a rapist.
In 1997, Andrade and Trevi took Karina Yapor back to Chihuahua to visit her family. Gloria was caught on home video, charming Karina's parents. The teenager in the striped top now claims that her limbs were bruised with repeated beatings. Gloria, her eyes filled with tears, sang for the family while their daughter accompanied her on piano.
We saw her play the piano. We hear her play even some classical music. So we feel proud about her because we think, as many parents think, well, it's very sad to not have our daughter with us, but she's making progress in what she wanna do.
Karina's baby son is evidence against the father, Andrade, living proof that he had sex with an underage girl. But Andrade denies rape.
Yes, Karina was underage, certainly. I would like to let you know that for me, I had a preoccupation about the fact you can't handle always your feelings about the people. You can't control every time what are you feeling for another person. We had a relationship with respect, with a lot of joy, a lot. If I am guilty of something, well, I just fell in love, and just that.
Love letters may yet prove to be Andrade's best defense.
He visto cartas de la acusadora.
I've seen letters sent to him by Karina. You can take them to a frigging handwriting specialist so that they can study and analyze them. And then why don't you take them to a psychologist who will show you that she wasn't being forced? I've read a letter from her saying, I wish it were really hot so that I could suck you the way I sucked you before. You know what I think? That this woman was definitely not raped.
Karina Yapor alleges that writing erotic love letters was compulsory within the cult. But she claims she was confused, coerced, and a child. Rape will not easily be proven, since her letters seem to imply consensual sex. Her case rests on the evidence of other young women who claim that they too suffered in Andrade's notorious pink house.
Evil doesn't have nationality. This horrible thing could happen in any country, to any family, in every part of the world. So my prayer to the Lord is that this horrible story won't be repeated never again.
When the Trevi clan were arrested in Brazil, the Mexican government applied for extradition. If found guilty, the three face up to 15 years imprisonment in a jail near Chihuahua, where a once trusting family exposed a catalogue of abuse. If sentenced, this is where they will be brought, Cerezo Prison. The pop entourage accustomed to five-star hotels will face more modest fare. Surveillance and discipline will be Andrade's new companions, as for the first time in 16 years, he is separated from Trevi and Boquitas. Mexico has put its superstar on trial, but Trevi's own role remains uncertain.
Gloria did many of the bad things she did against her own will. She did them because she too was dominated, forced and threatened. I often saw Gloria sleeping on the floor or being beaten or abused. I saw Gloria telling Andrade that she wanted to leave, that she couldn't bear it any longer. But he forced her to change her mind by locking her up and beating her. In a way, Gloria is just another victim. But I always ask myself, why didn't she leave? Why did she never escape?
Perhaps this pop video holds a clue. The most compelling comment on the whole case appears in the video for Trevi's hit single, Recuento de los Daños. The video is directed by Sergio Andrade. A little girl is abducted from her parents by a fat, unkempt man in a checked shirt. She grows up to become an adolescent. Still imprisoned by her abductor, she fears him, slaves for him, and cooks his food. At puberty, and still a virgin, she is raped. The little girl grows up, and, chillingly, she becomes Gloria Trevi. In the video's perverse narrative, she falls in love with her abuser, climbing into bed with him and becoming his lover. Is this wretched mesh of abuse and dependency, glamorized in a pop video, directed by the man who discovered Gloria Trevi and shaped her career, the true picture? Whatever the truth, it throws a dark shadow over Gloria's claim.
He asked for nothing in return for making me famous.
Siento otro desprecio, mando un buen deseo. Cambio el sufrimiento por un timbre postal al cielo. Con la tinta de mi llanto escribiré una carta en blanco, sin palabras tú sabrás cuánto te amo. La mandaré en el viento junto con mis dulces sueños en los que tú siempre estás. Cuánto te amo. Angelito con poquita de corazón, nunca voy a decirte adiós.